I forgot my watch. I usually do when I do my talks. I used to watch my watch because so I can feel how much I'm talking. So I'm putting a timer, so you probably will hear bouncing stuff when the timer ends. It's my cooking timer, so that's why it bounces. Okay. But anyway, welcome to this session. We will talk about designs for mobile phones, especially Windows Phone. And we will have probably a chance to talk about Windows 8. So it's the new platform from Microsoft. And my name is Davide, and I don't work for Microsoft. I just collaborate with Microsoft, which means that I'm free to tell you what I like for Microsoft, what I don't. Usually it's because strictly from Microsoft they can't, Anyway, this is my email. If you want to send me an email to ask questions, wherever, and zeroteam.com is my website. I'm not strictly a designer, so probably on the website you will find right now most of stuff for developers and probably for developers. But anyway, this year I'm focusing on designs for Windows 8. So you will find more stuff on what we are talking about today. Okay. Two words of me. Actually, this is the island where I live, and this is really close to my house, fortunately. What I do is designing apps, which means that I write down code for my apps, and I write down the design. I'm a consultant, which means that I do almost everything. When someone asks me to go in their business field, they ask for designs, they ask for architectures, they ask for everything. So I try to study almost a little bit of everything, and designing apps is the main part. Now, everybody knows Windows Phone 7. How many people knows it? Raise your hands up. Oh, okay. Now, Windows Phone is the platform from Microsoft that runs on mobile phones. It's really new, so it's kind of young, but the technology is not that young. It's based on Silverlight, which is around the business for about 10 years, I think. So, for example, our main TVs, they run players on Silverlight because the streaming on Silverlight is really smooth. So, probably one of the best features on Windows Phone is the streaming on internet. Okay, they can stream really good. And it's easy to develop, it's easy to design, because Microsoft, even if it's not probably skilled like Apple is in design, they have really good stuff to make designs. They give really a lot of power to people who want to design, to people who want to develop, and mix all those skills together. The main skill that I found in Microsoft is to mix skills from everybody. For example, designers and developers don't usually talk to each other. Okay? They don't usually collaborate because they don't know how to do it. Okay? because design is something, developing is something else. Okay. Microsoft found ways to mix those skills and let you talk each other. Okay. Now, first of all, when you design an app, you must find inspirations, which means that you can steal or borrow from other sites or other designers to find your way. You don't have to build all the stuff from the scratch. Okay? You don't have to. You can find inspirations, you can find sites, and follow the guidelines. Now, when I started designing, this is my experience, so probably a lot of people made the same path, you know. The first stuff that I find inspiration. Okay, so I borrow it, and what I found is that my app became something like strange stuff because I borrowed it from many sites, you know, from many people, and it didn't come up like fluent user interface, like fluent design, you know, because I borrowed it from many people, and what I found really, really hard is to give a sense, you know, to my app. So, after you found the inspiration, you must identify the theme, what you want to do, or what the committee wants you to design, you know. So, how many people make designs here? 1, 2. Okay. You probably know that when you make a design, okay, you don't have always the chance to say, okay, I'm a designer, I decide what colors, what layouts, whatever, you know, I want to put in here. You have to fight with people to make them understand that you have a reason to choose a color, to choose a layout, to choose a place where to put buttons, icons, whatever. You know, that's the main and the hardest part that designers should effort before they put, you know, a design into the app, whatever. So, identifying the theme means that you have a path, and you can stick to the path when you choose the color. Okay? Now, the theme is something that is recurrent. You know, you find, for example, your app is about code. So, what is a recurrent theme? Family, and the recurrent color, right? Okay. So you get the idea. Oh, we see nothing. Better? Oh, okay. Now, it's a recurrent concept. You know, you have to find something that gives the idea, and something that gives the idea is not just a color, is not just a word, is not just a layout. A concept is something more bigger that communicates with someone else. Yes, let's think about this one. Okay, you communicate with someone else. What a designer do is to think what someone else will do with the app. Okay. Now, there is someone who taught what to do. There is a designer that thinks what someone else will do with the app, and there's someone else who is a developer, okay, who brings up to life what is the main part and the old stuff that the app will do, okay. Now, there are many phases. There are many phases of the design, okay? So, the design is primarily to discuss with others. Do you guys know where design starts? Brainstorming. Then? Good ideas and good answers. This is kind of brainstorming. Yeah. And then? Proposals, which is kind of brainstorming. Plan. Yes. Write down the plan. Yes. Brainstorming brings up all the ideas, and then planning will give you the base, the time, where designing when the design is coming up. That is really good practice that not always comes up from the design, which is called the personas. Personas will give you the idea of the final users. Okay. I want to, for example, design an app, which is, for example, a game. Okay, a small game playing cards. Okay, and my requirements are my users will use this app for 10 minutes when they are waiting, for example, the bus. Okay, what kind of users will use it?
Probably adult ones. Families? Adult ones, because targeting is a big part of the children. Yes.
Yeah, probably for the children, they want to use it. Yeah. Students, for example, yes. So it's about an age from 17 up to 30, It's this range. And then, especially males, guys, because, I've never seen girls using or playing an app with cards. Okay, for example. For example, yes, I'm thinking about betting card, betting games, poker games, whatever. I'm thinking about stuff like that, But I've never seen, which doesn't mean that, for example, a girl can use it, or doesn't come up from probably that it's better doing it for girls, whatever. This is brainstorming. Okay, what comes up, and the persona says, okay, probably most of our users are guys, but don't let out the 30%, for example, if you want to sell it. Okay, that's the question. What kind of users? So, 2 points here. We want to stick just for guys, or we want to include also girls here. This is the personas. that gives you the idea what kind of users, And during the testing, okay, you will find out if you are right or if you are wrong with personas. So design doesn't mean that you begin doing your app, your colors and your layout, but design means also testing and verifying what you are doing. So, back to Metro Style, which is a new way from Microsoft to design stuff, which means that the new Metro Style, the new modern styles, it's probably you saw it, it's about, it's square, it's kind of old stuff. And what they wanted to do is to bring up something really clear. Something very clear means that they must do something that you understand, you guys understand, because they are doing new designs for people who will use their user interface, okay. But they are changing every time. I saw 4 different changes in their user interfaces and their way to put details, in the new user interfaces. What I'm trying to do is that you should be good before you are new. Okay. What designers usually do is to explore new ideas. Is to try to give new boost to us, because that's what they are doing. So first of all, different is good. Being different is really, really good. I saw, for example, that on Android platforms, they are trying to use the Windows Phone style, okay, on Android, because on Android you have a sort of guidelines, but you are really, really free to use whatever you want, okay. So you can have an app on Android that looks like an iPhone app, which doesn't give the Android users the feeling they are using that kind of platform, So, being good is better than being new, okay? Because being new, being better, being good will make you sell us, okay? Being different but hard to understand will give you the idea that users feels frustrated because they don't understand what they are doing. Okay. Now, Metro. Okay. Metro look like this one. Okay. Which is kind of square stuff, Metro is like some kind of metropolitan area signs. Okay, what Microsoft tried to do is to give you information like metropolitan area do. It's the same way. Okay, and they do a lot of square stuff. Okay, like icons are really squared and really simple. simple, yeah. Simplicity, you guys know that it's not really easy to achieve, you know? It's not really easy to achieve. The first I forgot the word, obstacles. You guys understand? I think there's a word. You have to pass. Is how I can make my app to look like it's alive. Okay. Look at those squares. They feel cold. They feel like really heavy. Even if there is a simple icon, you must follow the metro style guidelines to publish your app, for example. Okay? So the first obstacle is to give life to your apps. Now, first thing, we put we put together a lot of information since here. Now, we have to be good before being new. Okay? Then, the users that you are going to meet with your app must be studied before you begin to design. So colors and layouts, whatever, must be studied before you begin. Now, all of these informations are because design is order. Okay, the first thing you must understand about design is that you must be ordered. Because people that is asking you to do something is asking you to make order to all those ideas, all of these problems. Okay, you must follow a path and give them something that is ordered. First of all, so order means the user understands how your app flows, you know? Now, communication is the first thing you must do. Communicate with all the guys that you are collaborating to. Okay, so they are developers, you communicate with them. They are your boss, you communicate with them. There are your friends, you communicate with them. Because communication lets you explain what you want to do. If you can explain to your boss, to your friends, to your mom, wherever, okay, you don't understand your app. So there is no order. So first of all, communicate what you want to do. If you find the order, okay, of your app, you can start designing your app. Now, here is the metro style. You see really clear signs. For example, you are driving your car and you are 100 kilometers per hour. Okay, you must see on the first side a sign. For example, giving you direction to turn left, to turn right, whatever. You must see the sign really clearly. So it's a balanced colors, balanced icons, whatever. So that's what Microsoft is trying to do. Give you signs on the first side, okay? You must understand what is going on the first side. So, now, any questions this year? No questions? Okay. What you are going to do today? First of all, I expected to have more designers here. So I was prepared to talk about fonts, but probably less designers, less fonts, because people must be designer to understand the meaning of fonts in the app. Otherwise, you can just use the standard fonts and everything will be good. Okay. Microsoft gives you Sego, Windows Phone, regular, Gold, whatever, okay, which comes for free. So you can use them in your apps as much as you want. They are optimized for read and print, so you can always, for example, you can share your videos from your phone to your TV, for example, wherever, and you can still read clearly what the app is saying on the video or wherever, okay? Which is optimized. Anyway, if you are good with fonts, you can use your own. You don't have to stick with them. And what is good with those fonts that comes with Windows Phone is that they are optimized also to give a kind of dynamic reading. Okay, so bold is. You can see here, and if you can read really. You can see that bold is really understandable. Okay. For example, if you guys know Helvetica, like font, okay. If you try Helvetica bold, it's not that different from the normal one. It's not that different. Okay. Here it is. So it gives you. Yes, it depends how much strong you want to go, but. This gives you dynamic, adds you some kind of dynamic, and especially it gives you dynamic even alone. Helvetica doesn't. Okay, must be matched with something a little bit more dynamic. Usually, it's suggested to use it, but. Sego, it's right. It's just right. So this is a normal way that app flows. It could be, for example, your email app in Windows Phone, and you should follow this design. Which is, at the top, you have titles, okay? And Microsoft gives you the right, also the right size. So, I'll show you later how to achieve it. And you don't have to remember all the sizes. Microsoft just gives you the softwares, and you say, okay, use standard size, use title size, use bold size, and you choose it for you. Okay. And at the bottom, you have 4 buttons. You can have no buttons at all, or up to 4 buttons. Okay. To do, for example, options. To give, for example, the possibility to have refreshes. Or to go up to another screen, you know. Now, this is one of the coolest stuff that comes with Windows Phone. Okay, just give me a sec. Panorama lets you scroll inside the app. Okay, so it's a mobile, so it's maybe thin. It's more, okay, but you can see more than it's appearing on the screen. Just scroll it, okay, and show you, okay. So what they try to do is to give some action to your app, to give some life to your app, because you have both stuff, which means icons, kind of static icons, and then they give you the possibility to go beyond the apps, go beyond the icons. Panorama is a contour that comes for free, so it's really dynamic. Okay. And probably is the most used control in Windows Phone, and I think it's coming even for Windows 8 because it's really cool. What no one says about Panorama is that it's borrowed from old-style games like Super Mario, side-scrollers games. Yes. Because it's really easy to implement, to build it, if you guys don't have to, and it comes for free and it's just a drag and drop. But it gives you the idea of something that is scrolling in different speeds. Okay, so the main idea is this one. You have, for example, okay. You have your icon, and this is the background. Okay. So the background scrolls, move, and your icon comes like a little bit faster. So they move at different speeds. Okay. So which gives you not also the sensation that something is alive. Okay. Anything you are doing. But also the sensation of three-dimensional. Okay, so that's the way they achieve it, different speeds. Okay, so if you are building some kind of app and you want to achieve 3D stuff with low memory, okay, with low memory consumption, because we are on the mobile, so we must use something that is low memory consumption. This is a good way to do it. Okay, different speeds that move together and you are on, okay? Now, how many developers are here? Developers? Just one. Okay, I'm just trying to understand what you guys do.
What I'm studying.
What you do?
Civil
engineering.
Civil.
What is it?
Civil engineering.
Civil. Okay, civil engineering. The same. Advertising. Architecture. Biology. Animation. Oh, wow. A lot of different competencies. I expected to have designers probably. Okay. This is kind of easy stuff. Anyway, SAML. You probably don't know. But you use XML every day, almost every day when you are surfing on the internet. They give you, for example, services. They give you information through XML, but they hide the XML part and they put it in front of you nicely. Okay, but it's XML. And SAML is a derivative from XML, which is Extended Markup Language, and Microsoft built Extended Application Markup Language. Okay, so when you make designs on Windows platforms from now on, you must know that almost everything about graphics, dynamics, and whatever is done in sample. Okay, because it's really easy to build it, it's really easy to read, it's really easy to understand. Okay. On the first side, they give you software which is called Blend, Expression Blend, and it's a drag and drop software, so you can play with it as much as you want. It's a little bit heavy for your computers. You must have a really good computers if you want to run Blend smoothly. But anyway, you can try it. And on my site there are different tutorials to use Blend, but Microsoft was always offers to people really nice tutorials, whatever. It's not, it's the fourth version, so it's not really young as software, and it makes really easy for you to create your apps. And what it does is, when you make drag and drops, okay, it writes SAML. Okay, that's what it does. Now, okay, now I'll show you all the softwares, and in the next hour we're going to understand all the softwares and how SAML works. And I just give you a little hint what we're going to show in the next hours. And I think the last hour I will show you how to create with the same code, with the same exactly code, an app with Windows Phone, an app for Windows 8, and an app that could be, for example, the user interface of a game or whatever. Okay. This is all because XML is a standard. Okay. If you use a standard, you can do whatever you want, because any software outside Microsoft, for example, can understand it. Okay. So you can do whatever you want. Okay. Now, wrong one. Okay. The software that developers are going to use is called Visual Studio. You can use Visual Studio for XML, yes. This is the one for developers. Okay. I'm just starting a new project, just to show you what kind of tools you have. Okay. Now,
inside the Visual Studio, you should download because I don't remember. I know
yes, it doesn't matter. No, you don't have to start. Her question is, we should start a new project with XML. No, XML is the language. Okay, is the language. You must start a new project of, for example, Windows Phone. Okay, and then it writes down for you all the stuff you need to get started, also with XML.
So what is going to be for example, something, dot, CDPs for several classes, for example, it would be something when you have to save it, for example?
You're going to save it from, I think you are going to save SAML.
Example.
Yes, XAML. Yes, that's the extension. But anyway, any software that can read XML can read SAML. Okay. Let me find. I have software. To zoom in and zoom out. I thought I had it. Okay. Anyway, there are, as you see, you probably see that I clicked Silverlight for Windows Phone, okay? And I can choose from many applications, many types, many kinds, okay? And I want just to start with a blank one, okay? Windows Phone app 1. The OS version is 7.1, so you guys have more power, more control on the stuff. And as you can see, he's doing a lot of stuff. He's crunching this, displaying stuff, whatever. On the left, here, okay, here you have here you have all the files that you need for your software, but that's not what I'm going to show you. As you can see, they give to developers, designers, whatever, cool stuff that lets you see what you are doing in real time. For example, we are going to add a new button. Let me hide this one. Can you guys read it here?
Yep.
Okay, this is XML or SAML in this case. You can see panel, which means that is something that holds buttons, icons, images, whatever. Okay, it's a stack, which means that it's aligned 1 up to 1. Okay, or you can align them horizontally. Okay, whatever you want to do. There is a grid which aligns stuff, for example, bottom, center, right, left, wherever, okay? And I'm going to change this one with stack panel. Visual Studio, for example, gives me the chance to choose from a list of what I'm going to change. And then stack panel. Okay. I want to add, for example, a button, a simple button. Now, button with, I don't know, content, my first button, and then I close the tab. Here's my first button. As you can see, it gives me the idea of what I'm doing. Okay.
So in the library, you take some standard buttons.
Yes. Then you can style it as much as you want. Okay. So styling is another stuff. You are now adding to make layouts, to make stuff appearing as you want, and then you style them. Now, if I want, for example, to change the layout, so I want them aligned horizontally, I can change, for example, the orientation. horizontal, yes, and they change, okay? It gives you the idea of what you are doing. This is, for example, for developers, but as you may understand, is not always for, yes, I told you. Find it, okay, okay. Select this one, cancel those buttons, and if I go to the example part, you probably can see that those buttons have been deleted, okay, automatically. And so you can probably understand that you guys can work really on this one, on the first side. Then when you want more control, you go behind and edit sample. Yeah, kind of Dreamweaver, yes. The drag and drop is really easy to use. Adding a button, for example, from the toolbox, adding another button, but we have a stack panel, so wherever I drop down the button, he aligns it, okay. If I drop down on a button, it probably aligns, but I can't see it because I can't scroll right now, okay? So, that's a little bit easier, okay, to use it. Now, let's change this one, and I want to change from stack panel, for example, to grid, and let's go back. Oh, right. It tells me that the orientation is not valid for grids, because grids doesn't have any orientations. Okay, so just yes. Right. And then orientation. Okay. Now, button 1, button 2, button 3. I can size them as much as I want, and what he's doing is giving margins, okay, from here, he's giving margins. So, let's do this one. Can you see the orange stuff on the, can you see? Okay, he's giving us the correct position, because you don't have to match exactly the border, because usually when you use these guys, as you can see, are made only for touch. If you put stuff in here, probably not always is touchable. Okay, it depends on hardware construction. But you don't have to worry about hardware construction. It says, hey, this is the correct place where you can put it. Okay. Now, let me see if I can open in Expression Blend directly from Visual Studio. Yes, give it like 1 or 2 minutes to open up. And it's been a while that I don't open Expression Blend, so they probably takes a little while. Anyway, it's because I prefer to write down code instead of doing drag and drop, because I can have more control on XAML or whatever he's doing, you know. But here is Expression Blend, and as you guys can see, you can have the same stuff. Okay. Now results. But But when I click button, on the right, I have a lot of more controls. Okay. For example, I can change let's see the 3D stuff, which is kind of cool. Okay. Knowing nothing about XAML, about software, about anything, but I can turn this button in 3D dimensions, okay, which is really kind of cool stuff, but you guys must know that you have to be careful using this because it's distracting for users, okay? But if you want, you can use it. I'll show you later how is the correct way to use the 3D stuff if you want, guys. But you have a lot of more properties, whatever you want to do. For example, border brush, now it's red, whatever. You know, what we are going to use in the next hour is expression line and then a little bit of Visual Studio to have more power. And now I give you 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, let's say 10 minutes, so you guys will get 15 minutes. And this is the emulator where you are going to use your apps. Okay, so you try your apps even if you don't have the mobile. Okay, this is valid for Android or iPhone, whatever. They have really cool emulators, but you guys have the ability to test your apps directly even if you don't have a mobile. Okay, that's what we are going to do in the next hours. Okay, following the guidelines that we talked about in the first part, and then we are going to apply them. Okay, move. Yeah, please, yes. Okay, this is a Panorama one. Yes, probably there is, we can share on website or Skype or whatever, okay. So, we share all those pictures. You can save it, okay. Anyway, we left talking about okay. You guys see a little bit better? Yeah. Okay. Right. Now, what I want to show you is expression blend, and I will show you later expression design and a little bit of Photoshop and working with Photoshop and expression blend, expression design all mixed together. Okay, so you guys have the wide range of softwares.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
When you change those parameters with those icons and buttons, what actually happens? Is this the icon, the file that changes, or is this just the code?
What happens when I change parameters, for example, in buttons or in like dimensions, colors, whatever?
Is the picture that changes, or
no, actually it's the file that changes. When I change parameters in buttons, for example, let's say we make it bigger, okay? There is the XAML file that changes, okay? Actually, he writes code. Let's see.
So it's not like the program when it finds like it's in HTML, CSS version, So that's when you change the button, the size of the button, it doesn't change
the code.
It doesn't write the code, but it actually changes the whole picture of the button.
No, it writes down the code because this is a vectorial form. So it's all vectors. So more your screen is bigger, more it has defined definitions. Okay, so you don't have to worry about. The only problem it could be with small images that you want to make them really bigger. It tries to convert them in a sort of vector form, but if you make them really bigger, you lose in quality, obviously. Okay, but he writes down code. Let me see which one.
Actually, each button has its own code.
Yes. Actually, each button has its own. Okay. I'm modifying this one so the height will be really high. Visual Studio on the other side is telling me that I've changed the height, the property in blank, and is advising me that I'm editing the same file in both softwares. Okay, so
So if you change when you made it three-dimensional the last time, you also changed it.
yes, this is the three-dimensional curve plane projection, and rotation epsilon is minus 39. Epsilon means that you have the right-hand rule to understand. You must use the right-hand rule to understand the three dimension, which is this one. Okay, if you put your right hand in front of you, like this one, this is the epsilon. Okay, then the y. Okay, and you rotate like this. This is the x, the z part, which goes back and forward, okay, towards you. And obviously, those are positives. So the z is positive, looking on your back, okay, and the x part is this one. Let's try them. Let's try those. From land, obviously, because okay, there's this one. Here we go. Okay, now I can edit. Now. It doesn't change in the projection anyway. Leave it. Just leave it. It could be just more complicated than I want to show you. What I want to focus now is the first thing you must do on your app, which is going from one page to another. Okay, you have a lot of screens in your app. Okay, let's go from the really bottom part. So you want to go from the first screen, click a button, and then go to the second screen. Okay, this is the first thing you must learn. Now, let's move all these buttons away. Okay, and we have to create a new page. It's like a browser. Okay, you go from one page to another. It's like a link button. Okay, now we create here a new item. Okay. okay, which is a Windows Phone page, or you can see Windows Phone Panorama page. So we can try what we told from the very beginning. Let's give this app a little bit of, stuff where you can work on, a little bit of action. Now, Panorama page 1 is good. Okay, so as you can see, the title has the correct size. You can just edit it and write down where you want to edit. And there is item 1, and item 2 is hide. Expression len is divided in few parts. On the really left side, you have the tools. Then you have objects and timeline, which displays all objects you have dropped into the canvas. Okay, you are working on. Then on the top, you have the solution folder, which are the real files that you are editing. Okay. Then you have the canvas where you are working on, and then you have the properties where you can change sizes, colors, whatever. Okay. Now, it's hierarchical order, so you have a layout route, which is a grid. Then you add it into the grid panorama. Okay. And then Panorama holds 2 items, which is 1 and 2, and both contains a grid, but can contain obviously whatever control you want to add. Okay, by default it contains a grid. Now, if we want to see which item we are editing, for example, we go to item 1 or we go to item 2. Did you see it? It didn't scroll item 1 and item 2. Okay. Now, our objective is to click a button and then go to the second page. Now, let's add a button. A button. Okay. Button, and then you edit the content, which is the label that you are writing down. Go to page 2. Okay. Go to page 2. Okay. And you have 2 options. If you are a developer, you can just double click it, and it will write for you all the stuff needed to write down code and host the event. Okay, so the event means that you write the code to go to the second page. But if you are not a developer and you are just trying to focus on your app, you have to identify the theme, you have to build your app, you have to try stuff, before you go really straight to your full design, etc. Okay, so if you want just to try all the things in your app, you have another option, which is called a behavior. Expression len comes with a lot of behaviors out of the box, and there is the expression gallery that directly. The expression gallery gives you a lot of more behaviors. A behaviors is just something that you can just drag and drop in there. It's like an action. It's an action. Navigate to page action. Okay. Now, drop in your button. Okay, and expression len will open on the right side the properties panel. So let's see the properties. Let's see the properties panel. Okay. Event name is click, but you have a lot of stuff here. Okay. And
so now, if I will click, for example, I will go to the second page.
it's not as much. You have to set it. That's what I'm doing. If you click and you set it, it says you can go to the Panorama page. Okay. Now if you click, you go to the Panorama page. Once you set up everything, okay, you are good to go.
So the behavior, what it does?
It emulates what the code needed to go to the second page, but you don't have to write code.
Yes. So when I do the behavior part, it means that it will go to the second page.
It means that you are acting like you are writing the code to go to the second page, but you can't control everything. That's why it's just try, just to make sure that everything goes like you thought it. For example, if the user can't go to the second page, you can't control from here. Obviously, you must control it from code. But anyway, this is a good point to start. For people who is not going to write code, for example, designers, this is the part you are going to use. Now, let's start. Hit F5 to run it. Then we have our app. And yes, go to the second page. Okay. Here goes the panorama. Okay. So, my application runs in the background and is slower than item 1 and item 2. It's slower because it must give the sensation of three-dimensional stuff. But right now, it's all black, so you don't have the ground, so you don't have this sensation. So let's fill with something. Let's go to second page, panorama. Okay, and let's fill item 1. I was thinking about. Let me think. Okay, I don't have my specific application, but I can show you some kind of actions you can use to have your application with few simple clicks. For example, let's add, for example, a list. You can have a list of anything. One of my best-selling app is the traveling list, which gives you all the things you need to have with checking before you leave. For example, you are making your luggages and you get the app and you say, okay, I bought this one, I bought this one, I bought this one, and it's just right out of the box, because it has a lot of stuff. Okay, so you can have apps with just lists. Just trying to have more lists, and for example, you can get data. This is our I think they are must-do steps. So just follow me. There's no other way to add out-of-the-box lists. Okay. So first of all, you have to create sample data. Everybody see? Okay. First of all, sample data. He says import sample data from XML, which means that you can edit your XML, or you can have your XML data from developer friends, wherever, okay, and import here, or you can create a new sample data from scratch. Now, he says the name, symbol, the resource, and he asks if you want to make it available for all the project or only this document. I usually make it available for all the project because it's easier, so you don't have to create a lot of sample data, but you need just one, okay? Now, what he's doing is creating a collection, okay, with properties. Properties means screens with names, images, colors, or whatever, you know. And usually I use two properties. Now, the first property can be, for example, an image. Okay. Image. Okay. I don't give it a location, so he has his own images, and then the next step we give it the images we want to. Okay. Second is string. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And format, company name. You can choose really a lot of stuff. You know, website, time, phone numbers. It gives you sample data just out of the box.
But we can change it. If we ask the developer, for example, we can change it to whatever he wants.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Yes, you are just trying to make an example of what your app looks like. Okay.
But we can change everything.
Yes, you can change everything. Yes, you can change everything, and in the final app, obviously, you won't have sample data. You will have real data. Probably from XML. Probably you can generate XML with expression blend and then edit it. Okay. Company name. Okay. Now, there is a lot of people that miss this part because they remember how to create data, they remember properties, they don't remember how to connect all this stuff. Okay. First of all, you have the collection. The collection, you match the collection with your list. Okay. Now, you created the code to have all the list. Now you have to visualize it. So you have to drop here a list box. A list box is a component that comes on a list box. Okay. Now, I drop it on list box, and I'm now adjusting, creating the margins. Okay, and now the collection. Okay, here goes collection, and he says data bind list box to collection. Okay, now what he did is take from his own data. So we have chairs, and we have, for example, sample names from companies. It could be the companies that build the chair, whatever. And so you have a data to test your app. You want to go to page 2. Okay. And you can click them. Okay. You can choose as many data you want, obviously from properties, but you just play around with it. And okay. Now the second item. We will get custom data. I don't remember where I put it. I can get it. Okay. Custom data, you guys are going to tell me what steps we need to do to get this custom data. Okay. Any volunteer?
Same, yeah. If it's same, we should create a collection.
Yes, create a collection. How we do it?
From data.
From data, and then? I don't know how to do it. You must tell me every step. Okay. You guys can help her, if you remember.
You can push the data so we can read the... Yeah. It's easier. Yes.
Okay. Create sample data. New sample data. Okay. Project. Okay. Which means that we are making available for the project. Okay. Good. Now. We want to have our pictures. For example, so our pictures. Type image, and then browse. So we can find our data. Okay. Let me see if I can get vection pictures. Okay. I already had some pictures from here. You just have to select the folder, probably. And property 1, property 2. We have faces, so type string. Format.
This program uses all extensions like
This program
uses all the extensions for the images like
JPEG and PNG.
Only JPEG
And PNG, yes. And GIF doesn't work on Windows Phone by default. I mean, you need a developer to make it work. You need a developer to make it work. It's not that hard, but it needs a little bit of knowledge. And then you set names. Okay. Okay. And then this box. Okay. So drop this box. Click the selection tool so we can adjust it. Okay. Okay. And then find the collection. Right? Drop it the collection and hit F5. Go to page 2, and then we have chairs, and we have people. Okay, so it's kind of easy, really easy to implement that. Okay, that's what I was talking about. When Microsoft gives you the softwares, probably is not designed like perfectly refined like good ones, but lets you collaborate with others. That's the powerful stuff that comes out of the box from these softwares. Now, what happened to our code? If we go to Visual Studio, he says, oh, okay, the project has been modified outside this environment, so we need to reload it. Okay, now reload, closes everything, and if we go from this from Visual Studio. Three, two, one, go to page 2. We got the same stuff we made with expression blend, which means that if you are on a smart software house, okay, and you are the developer or you are the designer, you can put those two softwares online and you can edit them collaborating from 2 different points. Okay, so one is creating the design, and another one is creating the code. Okay, you don't hit each other because the code goes in another file. Okay, so let's go to expression blend, and then we have the panorama item properties. Okay, we need a background. Okay, we need a background, and we need solid color brush, for example. Oh, sorry. Okay, this is not the right. We need panorama. Okay, the background. If we go to okay, image, pictures, and you can see them. Going to my pictures. Okay, it says the following image is a bit large. You want still to add it, you must understand that you are working on a mobile. So the size of images is really important. Okay, it says it's kind of big image. We don't care because we don't have anything inside the app right now. But yes. Okay, we have a grid. We have a list box. Let me.
You can make the list box without water.
Yes, we have some something that okay, background. Okay, the background of the item was hiding. Okay, no background. Okay, but probably we can have a little background brush, and we can have, for example, the alpha fading, so we can read a little bit better, you know. Panorama item the same. So the alpha is the opacity. Okay, you can change. Opacity. Yes, you can change the opacity from here, as you can see. But if you change the opacity here, you change the opacity of the wall control. Okay, not only the color. Okay, now. Yes. Okay. If the app is running, you can run it again. Okay. That's okay. Go to page 2. Takes a little bit to go to page 2 because we have a big image. But as you can see, okay. Now we can see that third-dimensional stuff a little bit is not kind of heavy, you know, but is there, and you can use it as much as you want, you know. And this control comes out of the box, so you can just, guys, use it to do whatever you want. No. There is a way to rotate the mobile. Right now, I told it to use just one direction, but you can, for example, use the panorama to scroll stuff like images, to scroll stuff like controls you want to show, and you can hide, for example. This way, if you have a big title, obviously you can't see anything. So you can hide the title and the panorama goes smooth anyway. Okay. Okay. Questions? No questions?
The user can change the names of the persons, or can add in the list, or just the list?
It's just a list, because you have to write down some code. Yes, to other them. Yes, other them.
So we just make a list, put it inside, so he can just go and see the list.
Yes.
No, I think just
No writing, just reading. Yes. If you guys need more control, we are talking about designs, okay? And you probably want, for example, in this list, you probably want the face a little bit bigger, or the name on the left side, okay?
or you want something else.
Yes, or you want something else in there, okay? This is the standard one, but we want to have more control, okay? Believe me, if you write down code the first time, it's a little bit hard to understand how to change it, but it's always the same, okay? It turns out that it is always the same. So for the first time, we can use expression blend. But believe me, if you want to use this kind of stuff, you better understand a little bit of scripting, scripting, okay? Because it makes you really faster. So we have this box, and we can edit template or additional template. You can see here item template, which is each item, how each item is organized. So the first item, the first thing is the image, and the second thing is a little label. Okay. Then we have the item container style. So we edit from there how we interact with it, like selection, colors, whatever, for the entire style. And then we have the items panel. The items, I told you at the very beginning about panels. You know, the stack panel. Do you remember? Align stuff. And if you think about panels, we have a stack panel because we have stuff aligned one after one. Okay? This is a standard stack panel inside of this box. Okay? So if we change, this is like a composite stuff. It's one of the most powerful things in Windows Code. It's like a composite stuff, which means that you can edit items, you can edit the panel, so you can have, for example, circular panels, you can have like, diagonal panels, whatever you want to do or your design requires, and you can edit separate from the panel all your items. So now we can edit the current item template. Okay, let's put item template. Okay, I'm now selecting, okay, each item separately, okay, and in the objects and timeline, instead of having all the stuff included in our app, we have only a stack panel, which is the single item. So if you change one item, you change all the items. Okay, because all the items are organized the same order. Do you remember? The user, what happens? Think about whose designer is here. Okay. What happens if I have a list of items like this one, and I organize each item differently? Chaos. The user doesn't understand why you are doing this. Instead of understanding the app and focusing on what he is doing, he thinks of what you are doing, not what he is doing, right? Because he doesn't understand why things are organized like that. So, item template means that you are changing one, you are changing all. Okay. So, the stack panel, for example, we can change it, edit, change layout type. We can have, for example, a grid, and okay, can you see? I'm changing one, and I'm changing all of them. Okay. Or I can have, for example, the stack panel, but I want it change from vertical to horizontal. Okay, that's pretty much what we wanted, no? And then we click, for example, on the text box, and we want to align it vertically, you know. And we can, for example, use vertical alignment center, and we have center. We can use margins to margins. You know, if we are using margins, probably they disappearing. Just make things a little bit wider. Okay? Now, okay, you guys had what we wanted, you know, a list, and all the stuff well organized with few simple steps. But you guys understand that using expression length is not kind of easy, because you must know what to do with your hands, you know. So tutorials from Microsoft sites, it's kind of good point to start. Okay. Do you guys remember what time we started the second session? 11:20. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to show you just one thing, and I'll give you another pose. Okay. Now, expression design 4 is another tool that helps you guys to to make things right, I think it's better to call it, it's not powerful as Photoshop, not at all, but lets you use those stuff, and it's easy to create simple stuff, you know, like icons, simple backgrounds that you need probably in your app. Okay, so just understand. New, okay, and you guys have, for example, strokes, different strokes and different width. It's pretty much the same like plane, and as you can see, it has like 2 buttons on the left and properties on the right. You know, it's pretty much the same, and you can export. Okay, you can export like PNG or choose from different format, and you have SAML, which gives you the vectorial form of what you draw. Okay, the vectorial form means that it converts in XAML, in direct XAML, and is not really understandable. Is not really understandable because XAML, if you export an image or a path to XAML in this way, you will get a mini language, which is called actually mini language. Okay, and is made by a lot of numbers and comprehensive numbers. So just forget, and I usually don't use it because it's too expensive, like for memory, for stuff. No, just I make PNG files and I import them into my app. Okay, but you can have also PSD files for Photoshop, so you can handle letters, whatever. And you can have PDF files if you need it, okay, to share with your mates, with your bosses, whatever, so they can edit it. And you guys make sure that your design, before you can share with others, like Photoshop or whatever, make sure that your design opens up with Photoshop because it's not fully compliant. Not always. It happens sometimes that the 2 files are non-compliant. So most of them, 90%, you can open with Photoshop or whatever, you know. Format, PSD, and expression design, export. Okay.
What do you use expression design for?
What do I use expression design for? Pretty much to make icons and make simple stuff. You can make them in Illustrator, but here it's kind of quick stuff. You know, if you want more contrast, I definitely suggest you to use Illustrator. If you want to sketch up your application and you don't want a lot of stuff around like in Illustrator, you can use expression design, which is not Illustrator. It's just something to make things really, really quick. Yes. For example, if you click for example, on the corners, you can have a lot of control on corners, whatever. You can have handles, you know, quite quick stuff. But if you want a lot of control, don't use it. It's not the program for you. Okay. Now we export it. Yes, I think so. Expression, design. Yeah, that's the thing I really hate. Usually, softwares, if I export a PNG file, for example, I export in my own folder. You know, I export in my own folder where I make design, where I can handle stuff, etc. He doesn't. He points always to the same folder, which is expression documents, expression design. Okay, he doesn't remember the last part I said. Okay, which is frustrating me. Okay, here we have a PSD file, so we can open up in Photoshop and edit it. You know, if you need something quick to work on, you can use expression design and then open back with Photoshop or whatever, Illustrator or whatever, you know. Okay, this is what we've done. Now, just to make things quick, if you created some kind of layout, some kind of stuff in Photoshop, you can open them in expression design. It says you can handle Photoshop file, Illustrator file, Windows Media file. Anybody using Windows Media file? So Illustrator, here it handles in Illustrator files, but probably if you create it with Illustrator, you are going to use Illustrator anyway. Okay. And then you can watch this. You can import directly in blank Photoshop files. This is kind of cool, you know, because you probably have all the stuff laid out in Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever. It handles them, and you can just start making right away your app. That's kind of cool, you know. But be aware that if you handle Photoshop files with blank, it doesn't handle layers. Okay, so there are 2 points here. If you want to handle layers, you export them as in separated files. Or if you want to be quick to show guys what you are thinking, you can handle your Photoshop file, for example, a big panorama or whatever, you know, and you can bring it down to here. Okay. Handles Photoshop files like it's an image, pretty much. Okay. Now. Sorry. Options. Break. You guys want 10 minutes? And then we have the last part, which is how I can manage all my knowledge that I brought here. Like we said order, we say laying out stuff. We said we can use a lot of software to create my application. And so what we are going to use is to do in the final half hour is how I can use all my knowledge in a real application. Okay. So you can go, guys. Mention was streaming. Okay, so wants to use the camera, wants to add, for example, effects. They want all of this stuff, and Flash is too heavy and too old to make all this stuff easier. You know.
Scripting reminds me of Flash.
Yes, scripting is kind of Flash because Silverlight was born to go against Flash. So they had in mind Flash, and they said this is They took Flash and say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. We make something better. We make Silverlight, and they had, like, for example, connection to that base, smooth theming, and they had simple or easy animation, whatever. You know, that's why people is using more Flash. Flash is more known than Silverlight, but Silverlight is like, you know, light stuff and runs on Mac, runs on Linux, wherever you want to run it. Okay. Now, let's take the slides, and we said we need to find inspiration. Oh, I'm not connected. Connecting. Windows 8 better than Windows 7? Yes. For two reasons. First of all, it's made for touch. So,
you don't have the laptop. You don't have a touch screen on the laptop.
Yes. I don't have it, but every application that runs on Windows 7 runs on Windows 8. And then the new applications made for Windows 8, they must follow guidelines, which are designed, the application must be designed both for touch and keyboard plus mouse. Okay, that's why. Otherwise it won't pass the certification. Okay, so it must be designed. Inspiration. You guys can go to presentations then, which gives you a lot of advices to make your presentations, to make your designs really smooth, good. Like, for example, they talk about proximity, they talk about repetitions. Let me show you one repetition. Here, okay. For example, he's talking about repetitions. Can you guys find repetition here? Like your theme in your application, the repetition is the red stuff. You can see here on the top. Okay, so that gives you a lot of simple things where you can borrow from. Okay. And then there are guidelines, design.microsoft.com. They give you a lot of design stuff, a lot of examples, a lot of simple things to start from. Then we talk about identify the theme, and this is only up to you in your app to identify the theme, what you want to do. But remember that if you are identifying the theme, just give recurrent stuff and be aware that the final user is the user that is going to use your app, and you are not in front of those users to explain how to use it. So they must understand from your design what they are going to do. For example, I've sold about, it's not sold actually, but I saw a lot of applications in the marketplace for Windows Phone. I think it sold about 300 or 400 applications, but the total users, because I have there about 50 applications, most of them are free, and I have about 40,000 users out there that are using my applications. I can explain to all of them how to use my applications. I can, you know. So that's why your design must be clear. Okay, so you define the theme is crucial, I think. Be good before being you, and be bold. Metro is not just squares. Now, we start from squares and we give life to those squares. Let's see some examples. Let me say, okay, so some examples with I want to show you guys the toolkit, so you can borrow some ideas from them, and those examples come for free, so you can just take anything you want from them. Let's run this one. Okay. Let's say you have an application that shows cars selling, whatever. Okay? Show cars selling. So what I expect is to find new kits when cars are selling, what kind, prices, whatever, you know. So I need images because I need to know what kind of car I'm going to buy. I need colors because I'm going to show what kind of colors I'm selling, what kind of color types this app comes from. And I need to show the price, the names, whatever. Right? All this stuff must come in a really small stuff. Small stuff. Half size. Okay. This is for foods, but it can be for cars. And it says, for example, what kind of food I'm showing. Okay, the name. But we can show prices. We can show names. We can show whatever we want. We can change the colors. We can make like following the theme the user chooses, or we can choose our color that matches our app. And as you can see, this is bold stuff. It's square stuff, but it's not boring because it's live. Okay. And you can go, for example, you can choose to take images or data from internet and refresh, for example, each hour our tiles, which gives you a lot of new fresh content inside them. Or you can have, for example, places, you can have a lot of stuff, okay? And you have different animations. I'm not going to show all of those animations. You can use them. And You guys can have, for example, I think it works, the tilt effect. Can you see, guys, the third dimension? When I touch this button, can you see that it's going a little bit back? This is the three-dimensional stuff that we saw at the beginning, but obviously use it with more functionality. Yes. Okay. So be careful when you use them. You have all the examples here: autocomplete blocks, expand view gestures, so how to scroll, pinch to zoom, whatever you want to know is here. Okay, it comes right out of the box. And if you don't have it, you can ask, for example, some developers or whatever to have you guys to bring into your application what you need to scroll, to zoom, to pinch, and etc. Okay. Now, one thing really cool that I want to show you guys is how to make animations in ExpressionBlend. It's not really easy. It's not really easy, but it's kind of easier compared to other environments. For example, in Android, it would be a pain to build those animations, and in iPhone, you don't have like this easy stuff. Okay, we can switch to workspace from design to animation, right from line, workspace animation, and it brings up the timeline. We can have a new storyboard, okay, where we can draw. This is borrowed from Flashlight, okay. So, for example, I'm acting on a button, okay. So I want the button to go around when I start the application, okay. Actually. No. Let's start off. I want you to act on this one. Okay. We're acting on the rectangle. We start with a keyframe and we stop in 2 seconds. Okay. And then we can change this. In the final part, we have to decide what we want in the final part, what we want to achieve. Okay. Then it emulates the steps in the middle. Let's try. We want it blue, so it switches from white to blue, and we want it, for example, a little bit rounder in the corners, okay, and we want it here, okay. Now we can test directly from here the animation. Okay. Oh, awesome. Okay. I didn't record it. Okay. If you can see here, the recording is on. Now we have 2 seconds. Once again, blue at the end. Okay. Radius 13. Yes. At the end, and then we have, for example, mode, and we can test the animation. Okay, it's really smooth, and you can activate this animation, for example, from behaviors, like we did, like to navigate pages. Let's see. Okay. Assets. Control storyboard action. Okay, drop it. Go to the property panel. Mouse left touching down, which means that we click. Okay. Storyboard 1. And play is the default action. So let's build it. If we click in the okay, it changes color. We can change whatever we want. Okay, whatever we want. Right? Emulate anything. Even disappearing and appearing stuff. You know, from the left, from the top, from the right, whatever you want to do. Okay. Now, okay, I'm learning XAML. Let's suppose that I'm learning XAML. Okay, let's suppose that I'm learning how to do applications or design applications for Windows Phone. Okay, and let's suppose that we need, for example, 5 months to learn all of this stuff because it's new, because we have a lot of stuff to do, because we are studying, because we are working, whatever, you know. So 5 months is a fair time to learn all of this stuff. Do you guys remember what Ernie said in his opening keynote? How, what, and why? What I am missing? Why? Why I should learn all of this stuff? There is no reason to learn all of this stuff without a why. Okay. We have an application. Let's create. Let's take the application Phone App 1. Okay. A solution is a container of projects. So we create a project for an application that runs on Windows 7 and Windows 8. A standard application, whatever. Okay. Add new project. Okay. And then we want Windows application. And then we want WPF application. Okay. Let's open it up. I want to use this one as starter project and I run this application. Okay. What I actually get is a blank window. Okay. Now, let's add some content. Can you guys see? What is it? Is code. What kind of code? XAML. So, if I drop down a button here, content, my button, and I want to see the design, I get a button with okay, I get a button, okay, and I use XAML, so I can create with the same knowledge applications for desktop and applications for smartphones. This is how I'm reusing my knowledge. It's not like that. For example, if I learn expression blend, I can open desktop application in expression blend and use the same knowledge. I won't know if I'm using application for Windows Phone, application for desktop. It's the same stuff. Okay. So I have two technologies now. Mobiles, you know, guys, in 2011, there were more mobiles sold than laptops. More mobile phones than laptops. So phones are the future, you know. But I have new project and I want Silverlight project. Silverlight application is just fine. And I want this Silverlight application run as a startup project, and you guys see what kind of code Silverlight application is using. Same old. So let me borrow some code from here. I want this button. Copy. Paste. I want to see the design. I have my Q button. I run this project, but this time it's not a desktop project, but it's a web project. So right now with the same knowledge, I'm covering phone, web, and desktop, right? Which is not really a loss of time. We are acquiring our why. I show them all of this stuff. And the last but not least, Visual Studio 2012. I want to create I think just let you guys guess. I'm creating an application for Windows 8. An application is a full screen app, okay, which runs on the new Windows 8, which is targeted for a lot of screens. Usually, as you can see, I use two kinds of layouts: stack panel and grid. There are many more, like wrap panels that wrap things together, whatever. But the main part is that their layout is automatic. You don't have to say, put this in 500 from left bottom, 100 pixels down, whatever, you know. Okay. Let's run this application. Okay, right now, did you see the little smooth animation when they appeared? Okay, and for example, you told us, yes, but we are using touch in Windows 8 and we are using mouse. My PC doesn't have multi-touch ability. Okay, but if I want, I can zoom in and out this stuff. Just hit Control and zoom in, as you can see. And all this stuff comes for free. I didn't make any animation, and it comes out of the box, and I can click all this stuff and I can scroll down. Okay. So, no, it doesn't get. Okay, you probably can see all the scripts right here. Okay, this is kind of CSS style, you know, in a website, and it's made with XAML. It's not an image, it's code. Okay, it's made with XAML and Blend. Okay, so you guys have just to find. Can you see that here is a little bit darker? Yes. It's just made to make people see things better. You can see that there is no connection. I'd like it to show you guys, but no connection, no images. So anyway, it makes it easier to read all the stuff, to see all the stuff, and makes user concentrate in what is happening in the center. Okay. So use the fade. Do you remember? It's just a big rectangle that does nothing but fade with alpha. Okay? That's nothing. Just a big rectangle. And do you know what? All of this stuff is made with XAML. So you have new platforms, you have new technologies, you have all of this stuff, and the new XAML can handle directly collection sources, which means that you can group stuff, you can do a lot of tweaks with XAML if you can write a little bit of scripting with them. And actually, we can really do anything we want, and that's why I choose to learn all this stuff. Okay, and the first time it was kind of hard because, you know, guys, being alone, like studying, having work, having exams, whatever you want, you have, guys, but actually it paid me back. Because I use one knowledge to make a lot of stuff. That's why at the beginning I said I do a lot of stuff. I do a lot of stuff as a consultant for companies like Microsoft, like in all around Italy. They call me to have a little bit of knowledge, more knowledge on XAML or on C#, whatever. But I learned one technology and I can do almost everything. Okay. From design, because it's not kind of hard if I know a little bit of basic knowledge. I'm not the best designer ever, but I know that I must be good before being new. So this is not new. This is good. That's it. I know it. It's not new. It's good. That's it, because it's CSS, for example, and I borrowed from a CSS, and I borrowed from a lot of pictures that focus on the center, you know, and stuff. And I borrowed a little icons. I didn't make that icons. I borrowed from a program which is Metro Studio. Those guys are really cool, and probably you can get Metro Studio for free if you get in those days, because it's still in beta, so you can have it. And I have all the icons I need, really all the icons I need. I didn't make them. I can change the colors, I can change the shapes, I can change whatever I want, you know, just a few clicks away. Save it as XAML. If I want them to grow as much as my screen, I can export them as a PNG, JPG, whatever I want.
They're vectors.
They're vectors, yes. They are made by XAML. this is XAML. Okay. And actually, I taught you guys mini language. This is the code behind. So just leave it. Where is it? you guys are not going to write it down. Not me neither. But I want you just to show that there is something behind it. Okay, there is something behind it, and you can have whatever you want, like transparent background, whatever. You know, you got the idea. You got the idea. So, first of all, know what is around you. Then apply the basic stuff to design your app. It's not that hard. It's not easy, but it's not that hard. And then apply your knowledge. Find the best way you want to create all this stuff. To be more precise, I can create, for example, even applications for iPhone, because there are some converters. If I want to create small applications, there are some converters to go from XAML to iPhone, because XAML is standard, you know, so they converted them. Okay. So, the last slide was XAML scripting, and the last slide is you guys will find your why, okay? Which I'm not telling you what is it, because I can't tell you what is your why. I'm trying to find mine, so I'm learning new technologies. I'm trying to stay up with all the new designs, technologies, whatever I find on the internet. So be prepared to have a lot of knowledge and put them out as ordered stuff if you feel designers. If you can't put ordered stuff out, try something else. This is my point of view. So, hopefully there will be some questions if you want.
What program do you use in your big
Websites.
what program do you use when you want to use
XAML. You can use Experimentation. You can use Experimentation, and your kind of project will be Silverlight. Okay? It will be Silverlight.
We can make a website just with XAML.
Yes, actually you can have website just with XAML. You know that you are a little bit limited in functionalities. Like you can click stuff, you can go from page to page, you can stream stuff.
So it's just for apps.
No. Is it good for websites? But when you create websites, you must understand that if you want to interact with your users in the kind of way you are used to, like logins, like I don't know, choose stuff, you know, complex stuff, you probably need someone that writes some code to have XAML to work, you know, in a little bit more fancy way. But XAML is good for almost everything because it's easier, you know, to
You're actually application developer.
I'm actually an application developer. Yes.
So you're designing, you make the whole application for yourself. I mean, the design, the codes.
Actually, yes. I started with designers which are composed by developers, so I can match them, I can make them work together. That's what I do actually, have them to work together. Because I know both parts. I'm not good, really good in design. I'm not really good in writing code, but I know both. So I studied to know, to make myself better.
It's better to find different people who know
different stuff.
Yeah, different stuff.
Yes.
Develop that. That would be great, I guess.
Yes.
Just expression language.
Yes, it would be great. So your question is, it's better to find someone that has different skills.
Yeah.
Yes, it's better to find someone that has different skills. Last May, me and a small team went to compete in a Microsoft competition. It is for students, so I can participate because I'm not yet graduated. I'm graduating in September, so yes, I can. But what I wanted to do, it was something cool, not something to be there, Something cool was to create an application that could communicate with something different than your computer or internet. It was a small box like this one, okay? And my aim was to remember users that must take pills. There's a lot of people that must take pills in different times, from time to time during the day. And I wanted to create a little box that remember the users to take those pills. How we can do it? For example, there is, I don't have it installed right now, but you get the idea. They got all timers and schedules from the doctor, okay? And the doctor needed just to create a little square bar, which gives you all the stuff. You just have to scan it with your mobile, and it remembers all the dates, all the everything. And the hardest part was to communicate between this guy and the box, because the box had lights, had sensors, because you are taking those pills, and so it stops lighting, okay, and has to ring, and so I had to communicate from this one to that one. I'm not an engineer. I didn't know how to do that, so I talked to people who were studying engineering, and they got it, and they built it.
So you made the project was you made a special box.
Yes.
And the box communicated.
Yes, with this one, which is closed. I can do it. You can't communicate between Nokia from Windows phones, for example, via Bluetooth, because it's locked. That was kind of hard to do it, No, because I was in an official competition. I can't go and say, hey, I broke it, I just broke it. I can do everything. No, you can't. You can't. That's why we won. Okay? That's why we won, because we created a kind of stuff that probably won't go in the market ever. It won't go in the market because there is a lot of big companies that can create much better stuff, but the idea was like people from everywhere, different skills, different ways to create stuff, put them together, have an idea, have a why especially, and they know how to do it. So that's better. I didn't make the design. Someone else did. So, yeah, so I let someone else better than me to create a design. Okay. Because actually she was a girl, so girls, I think they are more sophisticated. Actually, yes, I try to emulate them, but it's kind of hard. I can't distinguish from, for example, white color is smoke color, which tends to white. I can't tell you guys, but you guys know how to do it. So hopefully there will be someone which can tell me how to make all this stuff. So if you don't have any other questions, thank you guys for being here. Hopefully I've been clear, and if you have other questions, my email is here. Okay, outlook@posiroteam.com. I'm always connected, so I can reply to all your emails, hopefully. If you write down now, I'm on vacation, almost, so I have more time to answer your questions. And thank you guys for being here, and enjoy your time. Bye.